All right, and we're gonna make sure all our Facebook groups are in here as well before we're officially live. But we got the spinning wheels. There we go. Both at the same time. Perfect. Welcome in, guys. It is Thursday morning, 7:35 Mountain Time, 6:35 a.m. here in Seattle, and what would that make it? 10:35, 9:35 out in the East Coast.
Yeah, 9:35 here.
Where
What
the
really throws
elitists
me
live.
off is with all the international football I watch, they go on daylight savings time a week early. And I'm like, wait a minute, does that mean the games are on 5 early? Is that a 2 o'clock or a 4 o'clock game? I don't know. So at least I know
Man.
this is always 3 hours. So whatever it is for you, it's always 3 hours.
Yeah, that's I don't know how you are able to, I guess, go to bed as early as you do and wake up, because I typically can't do that. But man, I'm starting to need to get in your life cycle with the early to bed, because waking
Have a
up
child that gets up at 6:30 every day for 3 years. You'll go to bed early.
I bet. Honestly, it's the cat who keeps me up a lot of times. He's like, "Hey, time for a little bit more food. That'd be great."
That's
Pause to the
actually the
face.
worst. They don't change on daylight savings time. So you think that's the other thing about having kids and or needy pets. They
Yeah.
don't change their body clocks when you fall back. So like, oh, fall back, I get to sleep in an extra hour. No, their
You
body clock
wish.
says it's time to eat. It's time to get up. So 6:30 in the morning for an infant is still 5:30. It becomes 5:30 in the morning when you roll the clocks back. So actually springing forward can actually pay dividends at times.
Well, that's let's get to spring. God, I'm already ready for that. Sunny days coming in. Good morning, everyone. Actually, let's get through the Braves World Series victory first. Unfortunately, last night, but hey, 1-1, not the worst. But sunny days. Good morning to you. Got Diamond Rattler coming in saying, you guys see Von's Instagram post last night? He was in an ankle brace. Did not see that. That's unfortunate. EJ's in the house. Good morning, Nick and Scott in Broncos country. US Dave coming in. Buenos Diaz. US Dave also comes in and says, Scott, since when are fans so intelligent and in tune with their inner GM that they know for sure that tanking is what's best for a franchise? Had to leave last night. They were so sickening.
After reading it, I didn't quite get it the first time I read it. Now that you read it aloud, I get it. Dave, I was struggling a little bit last night too, and sometimes I struggle a little bit in those the chats. It's kind of 2 or 3 people that dominate the conversation, and it's all the same thing over and over and over again. And tanking on paper sounds like a good idea, Dave. You're like, oh yeah, we're not a playoff team, we're not a contender. Let's just mail it in. There's people involved, hundreds and hundreds of personalities with jobs, and that is a crappy morale. Culture. We talk about culture. That's a crappy culture to build. To try and have. It's like, we're just going to throw this in. Take the rest of 3 months off. Y'all come back in January. Come on.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this is a good class, but I do not think this is a class to tank in, right? Like, if you had like 3 or 4 quarterbacks that were like, oh man, we have to get us one of those guys, then you can. I think there's an argument for tanking without tanking. Like selling guys and playing youth.
We'll sell off. We're going to play our young guys and develop, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep,
but
exactly.
Not week 7.
No, it's too early for that. I mean, if the Broncos lose again and this team is kind of falling apart, and you can trade some assets and put some younger guys in there. I mean, I have a list of younger guys that I'm like, okay, if we lose this week, this guy needs to play, this guy needs to play, this guy needs to play, because we got to find out. Yeah, it's easy to say from where people sit at home behind their screens. We got Dave Glassman coming in with the Hearts. Dave, also always awesome to see you.
Appreciate you, Dave, because he came in on Dave came in on Facebook too, so he's doing the shares all over the place.
Dave's liking it and sharing it wherever we are, and we appreciate you, Dave, wherever you are. Sean Burns coming in. Good morning to you. Joseph T. Fisher, morning, guys, and go Broncos. Andrew Lampy, always in the Stars as well, in the Stars Hall of Fame in my book. Good morning, working, but we'll watch later. In the railroad makes me move this train. Are you a rail worker, man? Scott, I was absolutely.
Or are you just stuck behind a train that's sitting there and taking forever to cross in front of you?
That's possible. True. Man. We got the Facebook user coming in saying my daughter wakes up before the sun every single day. See, I'm okay with that. If fishing is involved, and I guess I'm okay with that if it's talking football's involved, but it doesn't mean I'm not tired. Mo coming in. Kenny Young seems like a surprising get at linebacker. Maybe he's a positive to come from this season if we can re-sign him. That's definitely true. Scott, did you watch Kenny Young's press conference yesterday?
No, I watched Weatherly's. I haven't watched Kenny Young's. I thought Weatherly did a good job saying, hey, they brought me in here to be ready. I'm going to be ready. I thought he came off very well in that.
Yeah,
And then
Kenny
also I
Young.
watched Teddy's again, just to, based on the vitriol being thrown his way last night. I watched his again. I'm like, wow, y'all got a serious agenda for what you're pulling out of those comments, for God's sakes. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's losing creates toxicity in locker rooms, but also in fan bases. But hopefully we'll get that figured out and right. Or I mean, the ride or dies will stay on, and we'll have to figure out what brings us joy. But Kenny Young, talk about bringing you joy though. Did not seem very thrilled to be here. I don't blame him. I mean, this team is struggling,
I'll
right?
have to check that out then.
Yeah, I mean,
that's bad. I mean, you're a professional,
yeah, I mean,
and
he was professional, but like it was obvious that, and I don't blame him. Also, going from like playing behind Aaron Donald to in LA to Denver, I mean, and being blindsided by that. I mean, if like all of a sudden they switched me to like a different network and I was covering the Lions, I'd probably be bummed if I was covering the Rams before or something. So I get it. But yeah, he might more to Mo's point. Do you think about is there any viability to Young playing well enough where maybe he's in the future plans for this Broncos team and
maybe
roster?
you've got two inside linebackers that are both on season-ending injuries, both whose contracts are up. So there's never going to be a better opportunity for you, kid. Go get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yvonne coming in a couple of times back to back with the Stars.
Oh,
Appreciate you, Yvonne. And Drew Smith also coming in from Ohio. You probably know this. I've said it before. I was born in Ohio. I was born in Akron, Ohio. So it's harder to find a more cynical person on earth than a Cleveland-born Atlanta sports fan. The only way that we're going to get a championship is if they play each other like the 95 World Series.
Oh, is that why they call you the LeBron James of covering the Falcons? It's because you were born in Atlanta. You and LeBron,
Yeah,
one and the
that's it.
same. That's it. Okay, I thought so. Greg Smith, aloha to you, buddy. Good morning, Broncos for breakfast. Awesome to see you. Mike Givens is in the house. Dom's in the house. Good morning, fellas. Can't wait till Saturday. Let's go, Dogs, Dog Nation, and can't wait till Sunday. Hopefully, we can win or at least have 50 plus yards. Man, that stick moved back further and further.
When you set your expectations super low, you are rarely disappointed. You
Yep.
you end up being a miserable SOB most of the time, but you're rarely disappointed.
Yeah, that's true. I'm miserable anyway, so let's do it. Yeah, world's largest outdoor cocktail party this weekend. Florida versus Georgia should be a great game. I think it's going to be hopefully a better game than people think. Georgia's definitely the better team, but this is Florida's season. They're fighting for right now, so it'll be great. And I really like
really,
that.
really good right now.
They are, man. It's the
This
best
is the
team.
best Georgia team I think I've ever seen. So,
It's possible.
in 40 years of living in Georgia and or looking at Georgia football, this team is, they went to 3 basically national championship games in 80, 81, 82. This team's better overall. I mean, Herschel Walker's arguably the greatest college football player of all time. He's certainly in the conversation, but this team is better.
Yeah. Yep. No, it definitely is better. I'm not sure what you're getting at here, US Dave. We've been talking a lot already, and I'm trying to catch up on the chat.
Tanking.
But,
I think that goes back to tanking. Playing the young guys and that type of thing.
Yeah, you can tank without tanking. And like again, if there was really great quarterbacks in this class and you had to have one, I honestly think there'd be a conversation for it. I mean, it's tough, but and it's easy for me to say where I'm sitting, but that's not the case this year. This is a really good defensive class. But don't think you need to tank for a defensive player, even though you could get a franchise edge rusher. Scott, I will say I watched a lot of quarterbacks the last 72 hours. I tried to go in an open mind and open heart, and it's not happening. Kenny Pickett honestly played pretty good football. Surprisingly good. He had probably the best 3 games I've watched of any quarterback this year. Matt Corral, I see the tools. It's hard to judge because it's the Justin Herbert situation where it's like he's not asked to do anything NFL wise, and do I hold that against him?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not seeing the NFL plays.
The
NFL throws out there.
postseason All-Star games and stuff like that could be good for him if he goes to something like that, and you start putting him in a controlled environment where they're all asked to do the same thing. The practices, that's where you make your evaluations. The games, football is a team game. So
Yeah.
I don't necessarily care what happens in the games at the Senior Bowl, anything like that. But when you watch practices, you're putting the same guys in the same situations over and over and over again, and it's a controlled environment. You can get a much cleaner evaluation that way. But then some guys are just gamers. I say that about my kid all the time. I said, if you watched him practice, you wouldn't know he was even a baseball player or a soccer player. Just watch the games. He's going to
Yeah.
elevate himself. And I've had that conversation with him too. Dude, you
Yeah.
got to pick it up in practices.
Yeah. Practice? We talk about practice? Yeah, no, man. Matt Corral, though, like Tennessee, 30 rushing attempts from your 6 foot, 200-pound quarterback, taking hits from linebackers. I don't know. Same with Sam Howell. He's a little thick of
They
this,
don't care
but
in college. They just don't care. We're going to use these guys up. We're going to get our millions of dollars, and we're going to get a new group in 2 or 3 years anyway. They just don't care.
yeah, it's just, I mean, there's a time and place where you want your quarterback to be aggressive and put his body on the line, goal to go situations, 3rd and short, but you're talking about these guys are getting absolutely just dinged 10 yards after the first down where there's the sideline and he's lowering his shoulder. Like, what are
Well, that
we
one's on
doing?
him.
That's your throwing shoulder.
Yeah, that one's on him.
Ugh. Yeah, no, multiple times it's on the quarterback, actually. There's room to slide. Do it. But anyway, guys, sliding in here, we got to talk about who we are. Obviously, this is Broncos for Breakfast. We're at 11 minutes in already. Always, Scott and myself. You can find Scott on Twitter at Scout Kennedy and myself at Nick Kendall MHH. While you're there, follow us at Huddle Up Pod and at Mile High Huddle. If you're over on Facebook, join us at facebook.com/Mile High Huddle or /Mile High Huddle Pod. And YouTube folks, make sure you subscribe, like, and share. Hit that bell notification so you know when we're going live. Smash the subscribe, as they say, right? And also, if you're doing that, smash it over at Scott's channel at youtube.com/C/Scott Kennedy. Make sure you guys are getting your stars and your super chats and your super stickers in because October's almost ended. Spooky season is officially here. And that's time to get spook some wide receivers out there, some quarterbacks with your Patrick Surtain jersey. He's out there looking like Slender Man with those long arms, 6'2", 200 plus at cornerback. And if you get those super chats and super stickers and superstars in, you have a chance to get yourself a Patrick Surtain jersey. And there's probably no player on this team right now I'd rather have their
We're only
jersey
about
than that
2%
guy.
off. The boys came in big yesterday, and the
There we
ladies and
go.
gentlemen came in big yesterday with the stars. So we're only about 2% off. So unless things go completely dead the next 28, 29, 30, 31, 4 days, we're good. We're good. So keep it up. I think Shane and Howie frickin' Day had a contest last night where they were just, I can't have him get ahead of me. No, not him. Well, y'all got in the raffle. That's for sure.
Well, there we go. And we got Chase coming in. So Broncos, Falcons, Tigers, Hawkeyes, Chelsea FC, Cardinals for breakfast. You forgot the Braves. Look at the Braves hat back there. We're all Braves fans right now, unless you are a Astros fan, then whatever's going there. But yeah, we got to get the Braves in there as well. Get some good luck. We got Keith coming in saying Judy needs to go for 100 plus and show everyone what we've been missing. But will Shermer allow him? This is a good conversation here. Let's pivot off this because then we can transition into the Washington football team. And thank you very much for the comment, Keith, over on Facebook. Jerry Jeudy coming back this week. Looks like he's going to be pretty healthy. What are your expectations for Jeudy coming in? Is 100 yards obtainable, or should we pump the brakes in his first game back?
It's attainable. It is. If he's healthy, then it's attainable. If it's not, then he doesn't really need to be out there. It's not necessarily. It's been so long. What did he? Oh, he got rolled up. Now I remember. He got rolled up, and I thought he broke his freaking leg. Yeah, I remember that one now. It's not necessarily a hamstring where you're worried about rushing him as much. Does he feel confident in breaking and doing all those things? And the word coming out of Dove Valley is he feels pretty good, looks pretty good. So I believe Denver and Teddy Bridgewater they'll play to his style, because what do we see in the preseason with Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater? If they extended the play or let it develop at all, Jeudy was coming open, and then he was a run after the catch guy. Washington is 32nd. That's DFL for those of you counting at home in passing defense. So is 100 yards attainable? Yeah, that should be 3 or 4 catches. He should be able to get 100 yards. I'd like him to get 7 or 8. So I like that comment. Jeudy needs to go for that. And Jeudy needs to go for 100 yards and show everyone what Denver's been missing. It's certainly possible. The concern is Aaron Rodgers tore this Washington apart with quick passes. And nobody gets the ball out quicker than him. He's insane. So it's not, I don't want to say be Aaron Rodgers, but get the ball away quickly and early, short passing game, and in behind the linebackers, quick slants, quick outs, wide receiver screens, bubble screens, etc. Use the running game the passing game as an extension of your running game. because if he sits back in there and if he's holding the ball and taking too long to go through his checks, that front four is going to kill him.
Yep. Yeah, they are. And I will say I thought the Broncos offensive line, they were very much neutered in the game versus the Browns, but they didn't lose the game. Part of that is scheme. Part of that was Teddy getting rid of the ball quickly. But Jadeveon Clowney and Myles Garrett, I think, are 1 and 3 overall this season in their pass rush win rate. Part of that is they feeding into each other also. Like if you have one guy who's really good at the pass rush win rate, say that 10 times fast, it means that probably you're gonna have multiple because that they're getting one-on-one and getting home and winning their blocks. But I definitely think it's possible. And yeah, me too. Dave Glassman. I thought the same thing. Never heard the acronym DFL, but instantly knew what it meant. Yep.
Yeah,
Dead
it's
last.
last.
Yep, exactly. They are very talented. I'm not sure. Is William Jackson, their big free agent signing, he did not play last week. Is he scheduled to play? I have been looking at I tried to pull up their injury report, but of course,
No,
whatever
the
I
big
clicked.
one I saw in the injury report for Washington was Terry McLaurin. If he's not playing, he was a not practice yesterday. If he doesn't play, that's a big loss for Washington. He's really good.
Yeah, and that would definitely help Marty's wish come here, saying we need to win this Sunday versus Washington to boost this team's confidence. Not having Terry McLaurin out there would help a lot. I will say I've really enjoyed watching Taylor Heineke. I'd be very frustrated if he was my quarterback, but like watching from afar, the story is awesome.
Well,
And he plays with a lot of heart.
And he's one of those guys, if you just watch highlights of him, you'll think this is Aaron Rodgers reborn. Yeah, he freelances, extends plays, makes plays down the field. The question is can he get it done in a structure? A guy I know had a funny quote a long time ago, said the busted play is not a basis for an offense. But that's where he excels. He's really good at that. And McLaurin is really good at catching the ball in traffic. I think Jeremy said no jump balls or floaters. Well, Heineke's making a living with McLaurin on jump balls and floaters, and he's coming down with all of them. So but that's on extending the plays, not necessarily in a read. So contain him because he can beat you with his legs. It's kind of a similar game plan I would use against Zach Wilson. I don't mind Zach Wilson being in the pocket. I don't mind it. I don't mind him having a little extra time. What I don't want him doing is escaping containment. And then all hell breaks loose. Zach Wilson doesn't make good reads. I don't mind him sitting back there and having a little extra time to think, what do I do? I've got all this time. What do I do? Well, I'll just throw it to the guy in the other shirt. Heineke's better than that. He is, but he is super dangerous when the play breaks down.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun. I don't know about, Aaron Rodgers back there, but maybe some like Jeff Garcia, just a little zippy, quick guy. And did you watch the Washington football game? Man, the NFL needs to go back to the drawing board with their quarterback slide rules because they took off that touchdown where he dove headfirst without a guy around him and his knee came down, and that's considered giving himself up. Like I know we want to protect the quarterbacks, and I mean, my coworkers at up here in Seattle, it's like welcome to watching football without a good quarterback. It's really painful sometimes. So the product is terrible when you don't have one.
And I saw Heineke go down and slide, and I don't know how much water was on that field, but he accelerated when he hit. It's like he slip
and slid,
and then he picked up speed and went another 6 yards. I'm like, wow, now that's a slide. I'm going to show that to my baseball kids. And Jeremy, I knew what you meant for Judy. I knew what you meant with no floaters and stuff. I really only want to see jump balls one-on-one to Tim Patrick and Cortland Sutton. That's okay with me. You get those guys one-on-one, throw them open. And Michael coming in with a big stars twice.
Ooh.
I don't have the numbers, but I have a feeling when y'all are on tonight and we hit refresh, we're over goal. Thanks to that finish with Michael. Michael's come in twice, big time.
That's awesome.
From Tucson, Arizona, representing. Appreciate you, Michael.
Yeah, good morning to you, Michael. I want to get to this from Mo real quick. Seems to be a popular prediction that Kyle Fuller will be traded to Tampa Bay for a second. Pull the trigger on that one, please. I don't know. Are we in the time machine here where you're getting Kyle Fuller from 2018? Because then you might be talking in a second. But for his age, the years of control, and how he's looked so far, if anybody's willing to give up a second for him, maybe if a team had like a second, fourth round pick. No, yeah, it's 1 year contract. I know that maybe that probably doesn't matter as much for Tampa Bay, but I can't imagine a second round pick for him. I will be doing jumping jacks and backflips if you can get a fourth for him,
If
right?
you
Like,
could pull,
and I'm willing to eat some
were we a
contract.
third through the season? If you could get somebody to
Mhm.
take the rest of his contract for nothing and you swap sevens like we've seen the Broncos do before, you'd probably do it. If I could take $7 million off of my books, I might do that.
Yeah, that's I'd hopefully maybe get like something like
I
where
know,
you
I
get
know, I
a
know,
fifth round
but
pick and you
you're
send back Fuller and a seven.
the key here isn't necessarily what can I get in return. It's almost addition by subtraction. I've got resources to work with,
Yeah.
and well, I don't have to play him anymore. Not that you have to play him anyway, but it's basically a reset. This was a miss, and
Yep.
it's only going to cost us $3 million for a miss. Okay, if I can get something back, great.
Yep.
If I can put $7 million back into the team, even better.
Yeah, totally. Also, this team needs to probably make some room for Michael Ojemudia coming back. Get some reps out there for him, and Kyle Fuller
Yeah, the
probably
Bucks
would
the
be
Bucks are
above
sitting
him.
on about $3 million of cap space right now. So, if they were to do something like that, they would need to do they would need to, sorry, EJ just made me laugh.
God.
As we talk about listening to these in the shower. All right, EJ. Good for you. I won't check your man card. Maybe later.
Yeah, the bubble bath. Hey, man, hygiene is not owned by one gender.
For those
So
of you
let's
listening after the fact, there's kind of a running joke that Nick says how many people say that you'd be surprised how many say they listen to us in the while they're getting ready in the morning in the shower. So EJ says,
Yeah.
you guys sound great taking a bubble bath and listening to the soothing voices of Nick and Scott.
Yeah, today's show is brought to you by Old Spice and Gold Bond. No, I'm just kidding. Let's keep it going.
After the bath.
Yeah, 7 a.m. bubble bath. Man, yeah, EJ's living the life. Maybe EJ works third shift. Who knows? We got a question coming in here from Marquise, friend of mine, back in, going way back to middle school, honestly, out in Iowa. Broncos going to make a play for Deshaun Watson. Does not sound like Deshaun Watson is interested in Denver. He has a full no trade clause, and he would have to waive that to come to Denver. Sounds like he is pretty much Miami or bust in that front. And also, I don't think the Broncos are going to make a move for him or willing to trade what Miami's willing to trade to get him. So I'm sure they called and said, like, hey, what's the situation here? Blah, blah, blah. But I don't think it's going to progress much beyond that. If you're looking for the Broncos to make a move for a franchise, a veteran quarterback this offseason, probably Aaron Rodgers is number one in your hearts and minds and dreams. After that, and maybe Scott will roll his eyes at this one. Maybe Matt Ryan becomes available if the wheels fall off, although he's playing really good football for
That's a good thing,
Atlanta
though.
right now.
I mean,
Yeah.
the market for him should increase.
Yeah.
The concern I have with Matt Ryan is still the dead cap money. Could you make that work? Now, if Philadelphia is willing to eat $40 million, then maybe the Falcons are willing to eat $20 million a season for 2 years on Matt Ryan, but his contract is still cost prohibitive. I think Matt Ryan is available if he's going to move. Would be that next year, would be 2023, where as we've talked about with the Broncos, you get your quarterback in this draft. If you can get a Malik Willis and have him sit for a year behind Matt Ryan, maybe even 2 years, and then you're talking about retirement for Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
Then that would be the ideal situation. But right now, it's called whether you're a Matt Ryan fan or not, and all quarterbacks for the most part have their detractors and their proponents. It's cost prohibitive right now.
Yeah. The other one that comes to mind that's a possibility would be a Kirk Cousins. Like if the Vikings, they're paying him all that money, and they haven't really found success with him. Not really his fault. He's been amazing statistically. Honestly, the last 2 seasons, he's been a top 10 quarterback. Not elite, but really darn good. So if he becomes available, I could see that. But really, guys, if it's not Aaron Rodgers, I think this team is probably going back down the path of, it's not Teddy Bridgewater, but, it's Tyrod Taylor. It's Marcus Mariota. It's like that kind of thing where it's like, it might as well be Teddy Bridgewater again. And then, that kills me to say, but I think that's probably the most likely situation here. We got John coming in talking about the Raiders here. Just win, baby. John, congrats on your Raiders, first place Raiders. I hate you. Shane coming in here. Maybe with stars. Shane is always coming in.
Big stars, Shane.
Big stars.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much, Shane. Closing the gap on that. Good morning. Besides quarterback, if you could make a trade right now, what position, which player, and why? Besides quarterback, if I could make a trade right now, This is a interesting one. What's going to make the biggest impact for this team right now that a trade I could make? And you're talking about teams that are pretty bad. So I don't know, Scott. Do you have anything off the top of my head?
For me,
I'm
I
so
don't
much
know
on
the
this.
other team's rosters well enough to say, okay, let's go get this guy. He's cheap. He's a backup. He's good enough. But obviously, in my opinion, you still need help at middle linebacker. You still need a good, serviceable inside linebacker. There's no proven there right now. Everybody wants edge rushers and offensive linemen. That's easy. That's easy. So for me, I'd say number one, I would still want another linebacker to come in.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I've talked about this guy a few times. I'm not sure if his contract makes much sense to bring in for the Broncos. But I'm looking at teams who are their season is dead to right? Those kind of guys, and one of those teams is the Eagles. And I would do unforgivable things to have Javon Hargrave on this team. He is
But
playing
they're not giving him up.
probably not,
So
but
you got to look. You got to look at. You're not giving up a premier player at a premium position, no matter how bad your team is. Unless you're willing to give up 3 first-round picks. So you have to be realistic. It's like, who is the best third linebacker, or even second? Who's the best second guy? Who's the best next guy on a team that's just eaten up with depth, that wants a shot to come in and play every day? Every day.
Yeah.
I've been watching baseball. You know what I mean, though.
Yeah, and a few other teams that maybe would be sellers would be the Dolphins, needing to get back some draft capital for that Deshaun Watson trade. Maybe there's somebody on that team you'd be interested in. And the other one is Seattle, right? Seattle is gave up their first round pick for Jamal Adams, and that's a team that needs some draft capital terribly. So those are ones that come to mind as far as teams. Not sure the specific players. And again, I just wanted to. I know Javon Hargrave is not realistic. Looked at the contract; it's really not realistic. But he needs more hype. He really, if he doesn't end up in Pro Bowl this year,
yeah. Would I like trade? Oh yeah, I'd like to have Aaron Rodgers right now. I mean, come on. Let's.
John, I'm really
Aaron
sorry,
Donald
John.
would be a really nice fit on this team.
Yeah, he would.
So you got to go. And like I said, I don't know enough of the other teams' depth charts to say, okay, here's a second guy. You look at, for example, coming into the season, if I needed a guy to go put pressure on the passer, I'd be calling up the Broncos about Malik Reed. That's the kind of guy. Whether or not, but he leads the team in sack, but he's coming into the season as a backup. That's the kind of guys you have to target. Who has players like that might be available? And
Malik Reed. Where do you think Malik Reed? So I was talking about the pass rush win rate earlier. Did you see that graphic I tweeted out?
I haven't.
For the pass rushers. Okay, where do you think Malik Reed? This is the top 50 guys as far as snaps go in the NFL so far this season. Where does he rank in pass rush win rate? So how often does he win?
I don't know. I've seen out of 50, I don't know, 45. I've seen him go backwards with tight ends on him. We talk about, we don't want Noah Fant blocking TJ Watt. Well, Noah Fant would block Malik Reed, and that's the problem.
Yep. Malik Reed second to last in pass rush win rate in the entire NFL, and seventh to last in run rush win rate. So he's struggling. He's probably been one of the worst players in the Broncos
last
defense.
game. They targeted the left side big time.
Yep.
Of their offense. They're running their left, so to the Broncos right on their defense. And it's like, so you go back and you hit the 10-second rewind and say, all right, well, who is that over there? Oh, wow. Malik Reed's nowhere to be found. He got taken up by a tight end, which, as we've said, if the tight end can take out your edge, now you're pulling guard, a pulling center, and a tackle. They're to the second level without even blinking. So if you can get your offensive lineman to the second level where they're shielding off linebackers, I got a decent, even just a get in the way block for my wide receiver on that side. I got 8 yards minimum.
Yeah. And
if I'm 2nd and 2, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to beat you all day.
Yep. He struggled. And also coming back to Shane's question here, what position, which player, and why? I'm just going to turn off fair trades in Madden here real quick. Kyle Pitts to the Broncos, baby. Let's do it. That would be a great one. Let's thanks, Scott. You talk to your guys. We'll talk to ours. We'll send you a 7th.
Going back to what we talked about yesterday, though, if Judy wasn't healthy, Calvin Ridley would be a really, really good fit in this offense for what they need as far as that type of receiver. Ridley could be available in the for all the reasons we talked about. Nick and I went and talked about it we were doing Falcons yesterday, and Calvin Ridley could absolutely become available after this season. He's got an $11 million option, 1,400-yard receiver. He'll be 28 years old next season.
Yep.
And he is a lot of the things you're hoping to get out of Jerry Jeudy.
Yep, he really is. He would be awesome if Dolphins were, for some reason, this trade for Deshaun Watson fell through. I think he'd be great paired with Tua, because Tua and Teddy Bridgewater. Honestly, Tua is so much like Teddy Bridgewater that you need guys who can separate through the grass, on grass, not the air, and that's what Calvin Ridley can do. Also, wanted to shout out real quick to John. He said, "Just win, baby," and now he says he's a Bronco fan. Okay, John. Well, you used the slogan of the other team, so I had to make sure there. We got Rick saying, if the coaching staff spent half the time MHH does dedicated toward their pods, we would be much better shape. Hashtag #DisChank. Well, Rick, thank you. I think
we got a good staff here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, and for the most part, it's fairly egoless. We're not afraid to say, okay, I can listen to that. It's a good idea. And, and then maybe say that, no, you're out of your mind later. But, we're fairly egoless, which helps to look for the greater good.
Yeah. Everybody besides Eric Trickle, the biggest ego in the West, man. Oh my God. That's why they put him in Alaska.
Was Eric Trickle.
He's up in Alaska, man. That's the only place in America his ego could fit.
Those Alaskans, they're renowned for their big egos. That's why we had to keep them up there.
Yeah, exactly. Cold. The temperature actually keeps that ego in check. It can't spread when it's that cold. And also sunlight makes it gross. You got to look out. Actually, I know. I love Eric, man. Him and I go back a ways. He's a great guy. He's really good football mind too. But yeah, no. Is there any way to improve the O-line from our friend, the Broken Pirates, over on Twitch? So I always want to give a shout out to our Twitch folks coming in here. You guys can watch us on Twitch too, just like the Broken Pirates. And a cute little picture there. I'm not sure what's going on. Not sure what's going on with the name, but welcome in, Broken Pirates.
That looks like a caricature. I wonder if that is the Broken Pirates and his significant other.
Maybe, or her significant other. Who knows? So is there any way for the Broncos to improve their offensive line this season? What are your thoughts here?
Stability. I think stability on this. You've rotated out in the first 4 or 5 games. You had 5 interior linemen, and that makes it tough. So having those guys in there and playing together should help. And then if it's not, I'm not convinced that Reisner is 100%. Or if that is his 100%, we need to start working in minors. I just contradict myself. I get it, but. A little more competition there for sure. Because, I just mentioned pulling a few minutes ago, talking about sealing the edge and where Malik Reed was struggling, where he's being targeted. I watched the Broncos do something similar, and Reiser's not getting out there. He's almost like getting caught on bowls, not getting around to the left side. And he's been very ineffective when he's been in motion. So he's not getting to the second level. He's not getting to his pull block where he might even be able to seal anybody. And why? Is that your best? Because if it's your best, that's a problem. If he can get better, if something's wrong, and then he will get better, okay, good. If not, it's time to start looking somewhere else.
Yeah, honestly, I think Reisner's a guy who I would be shopping pretty heavily right now, because you have the 2 young guys in Netane Moody and Quinn Miners, and Miners looks better than Moody has out there this season in the limited reps. So I'm looking for a way to get Miners on the field. I know as soon as you trade Reisner, probably Miners gets dinged up or something. Everyone knock on wood, and then you're playing Schlottman or something, which is not what you want. But I agree with you. I think Reisner has struggled. Is it the ankle injury? Is he not a good scheme fit for how much inside zone and duo the Broncos are looking to run? And with that scheme change, did Reisner change his body in a way that isn't good for him? I think he looks a little bit bigger than he did his rookie season when he was amazing on traps and power looks of pulling.
Yeah, and that's the concern for me, Nick. That's the concern for me is he's just not. He doesn't look very mobile.
No, and he was mobile. Like I don't know what happened there. And Reisner, great guy in the community. He's come on Mile High actually before the draft that season. We interviewed him on Building the Broncos because Carl had a connection, and great guy, but not playing very well.
I'm not gonna toss him under the bus saying that it can't get better. I don't know. There might be extenuating circumstances there, but his lack of mobility for me right now, for whatever reason, is a concern.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. We got DeAndre's in the house. Lawrence Rivera saying, morning, guys, on the way to the bank now. Not in the shower, so that's good to hear. DeAndre coming in. Good morning. Awesome to see you. Falling Sloth also. Good morning, Broncos Country. IDKY. I haven't gotten the notification for these last two shows until late. If you're talking about Broncos for breakfast, that's on me. Oh, yep, there you go. I'm figuring it out, but we're getting into it, which is great. We got Clayton coming in here saying we have a lot of cap space. What do you guys think the Broncos will do with their money? We'll talk about this, and then we need to get a little bit more into Washington football team in the game on Sunday. I know a lot of people are already in the offseason mode here with their brain, but Broncos have a lot of cap space, everything like that. The one thing I will say is the talking heads, the people who are more connected than myself that are being fed information, talking points, et cetera, directly from the organization, they're starting to talk that this Broncos team is A, not going to be super big sellers at the deadline, and B, they're playing for the compensatory pick formula. And B, they're not saying it directly, but B is only possible if you are not spenders in the offseason, because guys that you sign out there with the way the compensatory formula works, if you sign somebody of an equivalent value, it crosses out the comp pick that you get across the way. So unless they were released, if they're street free agents, then that doesn't go to the comp formula.
The lack of player mobility and player rights in this monopoly of a league is disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, probably better than college football, but that's a whole different conversation.
I called it yesterday, an unholy coalition between the NCAA and the NFL in order to stimulate trade of the people that you depend on and the skills. We've come to be used to it, and all these guys are really fairly compensated, blah blah blah. But again, at times I don't even refer to them as a player of the team. Like this isn't an Indianapolis Colts player. He's an NFL player, and they just happen to put him over here at this branch. But off my soapbox.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for sure, but I mean, it's worked really well for the Ravens the last 4 years playing that comp formula. It's really good when you are a good team, honestly, and you're paying your own guys and then letting those guys that you don't think are worth it walk. But the Broncos are going to lose a lot of guys this offseason, and they don't really have, other than, honestly, right now, other than Cortland Sutton, I'm not sure if there's anybody on this team that's coming up that I'm backing the Brinks truck up for. Man, Cortland Sutton's been
Tim
really
Patrick.
good this year.
Is he an undrafted? Is he a free agent after this one?
He is. I don't know if you can justify paying Sutton and Tim Patrick when your quarterback position is what it is. The offensive line is struggling like it is. And I love Tim Patrick. It's pretty obvious watching them play that Cortland Sutton is the much more dynamic player. That he can do much more.
There was in the chat earlier. Would you trade Calvin Ridley for Tim Patrick? Just straight talent wise, I would just say no. Ridley's a lot more proven at this point. That I would take Ridley, and like I said, he'd be a round peg in a round hole in this offense right now. And you've got size on the outside and Sutton, but again, Judy coming back could be your Calvin Ridley, and having that guy in there that can get separation and make tough catches. I know he had his drops, he had his moments last year, but he was the guy I was most excited to see after the preseason. I'm like, he's both of the quarterbacks' go-to guys when things go bad. Yep. You need that guy.
Yeah, and it should help Cortland Sutton get some more one-on-ones. And I think stylistically he's a better fit for Teddy Bridgewater than Drew Lock, but they don't have that guy. And also offensive scheme-wise, you need route runners and separators to work Pat Shurmur's offense. And God bless Tim Patrick and Cortland Sutton. That's not really how they win. They're good route runners, but it's not that like dynamic beat the press immediately and explode, a yard or two separation on a slant route or an out or a comeback. That's not their game. And you need those kind of guys. So going to be interesting. Now we got Lawrence coming in saying, conjuring me a new PS2 jersey. I'm not supposed to be partial for anybody, but I do appreciate the comment there. And you're talking about stylistically, I think Tim Patrick would be awesome in Atlanta because he is an absolute butt kicker as a run blocker. And if you're looking to run 12 personnel and get some bodies out there, somebody out there that can play boundary with Kyle Pitts, Tim Patrick would be a very, very good fit for what Arthur Smith likes.
James come in and see the Falcons already have a slot guy in Russell Gage. They've got one of those smaller guys. They just got back on the field finally this last week, caught a 47-yard touchdown. So Calvin Ridley could be expendable coming up. James comes in with the big star saying, morning, gents. In my opinion, it's just time to do something different. I would be okay with a much more aggressive approach to this next offseason. Again, the money's there, but are you going to hoard picks? You're going to hoard comp picks, etc. That's a good point. It's something I don't really even consider just because it's so restrictive of trade. I should have, it makes it hard for these free agents to get deals when you have to give something up to get them. Then they're not free agents. That's a restricted free agent, in my opinion. But they'd never call them that. And Lawrence, again, I know Nick showed this to you, but again, thanks for the big stars. And tune in tonight when we come in off the top, because we're going to hit refresh, and I bet we're at 102, 103% right there of goal. So good on you. 3.5 days to go, and that Surtain jersey will be up for grabs at the end of the month. Nick?
Yeah,
wake up.
I agree with you.
You're lost in the chat.
Hello? I'm freezing a little bit. I don't know. I think it's the weather. Hopefully it's not too bad. I'm here.
I'll pick you up.
I wanted to talk a little bit.
One of the things that Jeremy said here that I liked is, would you want Ridley for 18 mil or Patrick for 6? Patrick for 6, for sure. I'd rather take that 12 million and spend somewhere else. If Ridley does not accelerate this season, his ceiling might be at the 12 that he's going to make next year. So we will see. So are you back yet, Nick?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm here. Hopefully, it's storming really bad here in Seattle, and a lot of times that means the
starting
weather,
to get that way
the
here.
internet
It's
is not
rain
as
all
good.
day in Georgia, so our winters feel a lot like Seattle's falls.
Yeah, that's raining a lot. But yeah, no, let's get into the game at hand. Washington football team versus the Denver Broncos. Both teams, they're Spider-Man pointing as far as disappointing defenses coming into the season. Now that Washington football team, they still do have the studs on the defensive line, and those guys are playing well. But that back seven for Washington has really been struggling. And I noticed a really good game plan from. Here's some more coffee to wake up Nick. Nick's awake. Nick's starting to get it going.
Right,
but the guy that
Aaron Rodgers running your internet in the butt and see if you can get that wheel spinning a little faster.
Man, that'd be great. Maybe I'll give him some coffee. His heart would probably explode. And out here in the mountains, we don't have hamsters. We have pikas right in the out here. We also got Charlie saying, "Hey Nick, could you call Hy-Vee and see if there's any more Kurt Warners there?" God, that would be talk about amazing story. Honestly, we're going against the Kurt Warner story this week in Taylor Heineke. Guy bounced around the league, was really good in the XFL and got a shot and looks pretty competent out there. His players love him. He's putting it all on the line for them. He's making some pretty good throws. He's not a franchise quarterback by any means. I have a couple Washington football team friends, Twitter accounts that I follow that are, like, oh, he's a good story, but so he's limited. But he's a lot of fun and he can make some plays, and he's especially he's mobile, man. He's the quarterback and one thing I really appreciate, and I think Mike Tomlin's interview the other day, direct shots at Ben Roethlisberger, saying when you have a quarterback who has some mobility, he can keep you on schedule. He can tuck down on 3rd and 6 and pick up what's there and keep the ball rolling. And Taylor Heineke did that time and time again versus the Packers. I'm worried about the Broncos linebackers being able to play sound defense with their instructions play to play, while also keeping an eye on Taylor Heineke, because he will pull it and run. He'll pull it and run.
This is where the nickel that you came out in against the Browns might make a little more sense. Have some more speed up there and worry about. I'm not worried that the Washington has a decent running game, but it's not like the Browns. No. And Heineke can beat you with his speed. He took off in the second quarter, I think, on a 40-yard run, and it surprised everybody. He started pulling away from guys and then slid in at the 35, and they gave it up. He's most dangerous. I said this earlier in the pod. I'll say it again. He's most dangerous when things break down. So if you've got some speed out there, a little extra speed, you don't mind sacrificing a little bit more to the running game as long as you keep him contained. Have him sit back there and pick guys out. And again, Terry McLaurin right now did not practice. He's a DNP for yesterday with a hamstring. Until they say out, I always expect him to play, but he's been really good for them.
Yeah, and keeping it on the offensive side of the ball, Terry McLaurin is out, a 3rd-round pick from Washington a few years ago out of the Ohio State University.
Is he McLaurin's out for this week?
No. He's been out injured. So we'll see if he's played, but either way, he's going to be dinged. He is the passing offense for them. Curtis Samuel has been, not really somebody who showed out there. They've been using DeAndre Carter some, but he's been meh.
Yeah,
They've
and
been trying to.
then they throw out of the backfield a lot. So J.D.
Yep.
McKissick ends up being almost the running back ends up being like a slot guy for them because he's their second leading receiver.
And and the other guy that was a kind of a receiver running back hybrid for them is Antonio Gibson, who is a lot of fun. The Broncos liked a lot in that draft 2 years ago. They didn't end up moving up for him, but he was very close to being a Bronco, from what my understanding was. He's a lot of fun, and he's a big boy. I think he's like 6'2", 230. So the Broncos linebackers are going to have to play sound, and they're going to have to wrap up because Gibson, he will make you pay if you don't play fundamental football on that second level, and he has breakaway speed too. So going to be interesting. It's probably going to be a battle of attrition up front. I think do want to give a shout out, I guess, to the Washington football team offensive line too. I think overall they have played pretty good football. Samuel Cosby might be the second best rookie tackle so far this season, playing right tackle for them out of Texas. Some people were worried about if he was too soft, but man, he had the size requisites you want, and he was a great athlete. So he's playing very good football. And Brandon Scherf, man, he is a monster back there. I can't believe they've had him under control for 6 or 7 years before he could even hit free agency because the 5th-year option, I think they've tagged him twice, maybe even. So he's going to be 30 years old before he's even get a chance for a second contract. But, here we are. I don't want to send Scott down a tangent here with the Marxist NFL, but they have a pretty good offense. If they can get that quarterback right, and another weapon to step up, they'd be very good. But the Broncos defense on paper should be able to handle this. You take out Terry McLaurin, you bracket cover Jim. I don't care if that means you're changing up what you want to do defensively. Don't let that guy beat you. You should have a chance to win this game on the defensive side of the ball.
And the good news is if you get tagged, you've got enough money then to sit out of here if you wanted to.
That's true.
I've got enough money. I don't have to play. So either trade me or I'm not coming back.
And
that's always your option.
It'd be nice if you had do that.
It'd be nice if you had more options to go play somewhere else. We were talking about a lot of rain. Rain in Seattle, rain in Georgia. Someone else said rain in Wisconsin. But here comes sunny Brian Greenfield with an optimistic look, saying we aren't winning this game, and I don't see this team winning any more this season.
There's too much talent. There's too much talent on this team,
and it's the NFL. You fall into a win. There's no way you're losing 14 in a row. Just no way. Clip this one and save it. There's no way you're losing 14 in a row. Yeah. At home, here's my question, is if the team doesn't come out with a little more fire and a little more effort than we've seen, if we see the first half Browns in Denver, it's going to get ugly. I think the fans start voicing their opinions and their frustration. If they come out with the effort in the second half against the Browns, then I think it'll be fine. But this team is on the precipice of things turning ugly from the stands in a home game.
Yeah. Honestly, I'd rather have things getting ugly in the stands than people not being in the stands, though.
Yeah.
So
as I said a million times, the only thing worse than anger is apathy.
Yep.
And that sends a bigger message. An empty stands would send a bigger message, but I don't think we're there yet.
Not quite. Brian, thank you so much for the $5 super. We appreciate you a heck of a lot. The Broncos are not a good team this year right now, but I'm looking at the draft order right now. Detroit Lions, definitely a worse team. Miami Dolphins, I know they are 1-6. That would probably be one that would be debatable. The Broncos team should be better, but that's one where I think there's enough talent there. You could go either way. Broncos, much better than Houston Texans. Broncos, we saw, just absolutely obliterated the Jets. Better than the Jags. Other than that, though, you could probably argue with any of those teams could beat Denver, but I don't think those 3-4 teams are worse than Denver. We already played 2 of them, but what can you do? We still get to play the Lions too, so I don't see them losing that many games in a row. Let's get over to the defense.
There's the Chiefs.
Yeah, the Chiefs, automatic wins, baby. Let's get it.
There's the Chiefs. They're pushovers right now.
Yeah, they're soft, and that Orlando Brown trade is looking like not a very good one right now. They're playing – who thought, man, going from that Ravens Lamar Jackson offense to the shotgun, Patrick Mahomes zero pocket consistency offense of the Chiefs would be an issue for Orlando Brown and his lack of foot speed, man. Shocking. Shocking you trade for an offensive lineman that's not fitting what you want to do and it's not working exactly. But I digress. We should be moving on to this Washington football team defense because while people are upset about the Broncos defense being disappointing this season, uh, Washington football team is probably right up there with them. It's not because of their defensive line. I mean, their defensive line is great. Montez Sweat gets after it. Jonathan Allen has a 90 grade from Pro Football Focus on the season. He's been phenomenal. I think he fell to like 13th or 17th overall because of a knee concern, but man, he's amazing. Chase Young has been good this year, not great, but very, very good. And then they also got Matt Ioannidis, who I think from Temple off the top of my head. I've loved him coming out. And so they can get after it up there. I'm a little bit worried about this Broncos offensive line going up against this Washington football team defensive front.
They had a big defensive line. Daron Payne, that was the one I recognized. I was like, they had another big Alabama kid that I remember being strong as a freaking ox. In the first half, Montez Sweat was the one that flashed to me. I was like, so they're running out several guys that can beat you, and that's a concern. Normally if you're dealing with one or two, okay, we can help him, we can chip this guy, we can scheme around. But if you've got concerns across your offensive line and they can beat you head up, basically in any position, that becomes a worry. So run the ball, and the ball, when you do throw, it's got to come out quick. It has to. Yep. It's got to come out quick. Do a bunch of 3-step drops and 1 reads, and get the ball out quick and back them off and slow them down a little bit. When they were able to just go after Aaron Rodgers, they were getting to him. He would slow them down with 3-step drops and a quick release. Then you can't just pin your ears back. Then it slows down the rush because they're like, well, we have to be able to get our hands up and try and clog the throwing lanes. So run the ball, get the ball out quickly, get Jerry Jeudy involved, play some good defense. Don't let Terry Heineke beat you outside of the pocket, and should be able to come out of this with a win.
Yeah, can we get some Pat Shurmur? I know that he's probably gets more credit and more criticism both times, just like the quarterback position. That's just how it goes for the coaches. But Shurmur, I am challenging you this week to maybe add a little. You have 10 days to get this right, and your quarterback's been injured, and you got 2 good running backs. Broncos have actually been top 10 in the NFL in EPA per rush attempt this season. Not super consistent down to down. That's partially the blocking. It's partially the running back division and patience. But again, I digress. But I'm challenging Shurmur. Add a little bit of wrinkles to this run game. You've had 10 days. You can be. Not everything trick play wise has to be a pass game, and not everything has to be a goddamn inside zone or duo. There's some other looks you can do. You ever heard of a counter or a trap? I mean, let's get that defensive line thinking. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to be over pursuing. Let's use that against them. Maybe even a draw. I don't know. Just the run game is so generic and basic. So I'm challenging Shurmur for that. The other way I'm challenging Shurmur, and we'll get to you, Velveeta, is the Washington football team. They have a very poor secondary. I'm not sure if William Jackson III is going to be back or not. He was there, I think, the highest paid cornerback signing this offseason. So he's very talented, but I'm challenging Shurmur also. Do what you can. I don't know how easier said than done, but you need to isolate Jerry Jeudy against rookie 3rd-round pick cornerback Benjamin St. Juste because he looks lost out there. He's 6'3", very long, but he has a very high center of gravity. So you bring on Jerry Jeudy against him with the quick routes and whatnot, he can't keep up. And when he's doing that,
throw jump balls at that guy.
Yeah, no, he's one who will grab if he gets beat, and Jerry Jeudy should be able to beat him on the ground, and that'll lead to penalties. That'll lead to open looks. So Shurmur, a little more diversity in the run game. Get Jerry Jeudy isolated against Benjamin St. Juste on those quick hitters when you can. You can scheme those up. There's ways to do that with pre-snap motion, Shurmur, and I would love to see some of that.
So Velveeta coming in here says, not a serious but more fun comment. Let's just save that draft capital for Arch Manning when he enters the draft. I think that would be 2025.
It's 25 or 26.
25 or 26. So that's a ways off. When you start getting into your 40s, you can blink twice and a year goes by. So that doesn't seem like that far away. But, for someone Nick's age, 3 years seems like a long time.
Yeah, I know it's a bit. And also it's circling back to Velveeta's comment here about the 2026 draft, 2025, whatever it is. The Broncos playing for comp picks this offseason versus trading guys for 2022 picks. That to me says, hey, we looked at this quarterback class, obviously still got a half a season to go, but I think 2022 might not be the year we're aggressive to move up for a quarterback. It might be 2023. And obviously a lot can happen between now and then, but you're talking about Bryce Young at that point. You're talking about CJ Stroud at Ohio State, who has been God, I love CJ Stroud. Maybe it's the Ohio State offense. I don't know what it is. If we don't get Ohio State offense versus Georgia defense this year, the college football season will not have been a success. That would be amazing. Unless the Hawkeyes win it all. But again, and then the other quarterback, I think Florida's Anthony Richardson is interesting as well. So maybe that's the Broncos' plan there with talking about quarterback. Maybe not 2025. You can't wait that long. But if they don't get Rodgers this year,
did you mention Caleb Wilson yet at Oklahoma?
Caleb Williams is a true freshman, so he wouldn't be available until 2024.
Yep, thank you. He's possibly 2 years out. So 22,
he'd be 20.
You got 2022, 23. He'd be a 24 entry.
1.1, unless something crazy happens. He's going first overall in that class. If he was eligible, he'd be my number one quarterback in this class. He'd be my number one next year too. But I'm not even. I can't. It's hard enough to ask people to wait to 2023. I know that. So Caleb Williams is in a box for now. Lawrence coming in. Probably stars. Either way, love you, Lawrence. The linemen are slow to transition to the next player, leaving sack open. It's like they are fundamentally not developed into the second push the defense gives, and it's frustrating to watch is the coaching of the players. If you're talking about sacks, part of it is the offensive line. There is some miscommunication. There's also just, some lack of talent. Your two guards have been dealing with injuries. Your center is simply not that good. Bobby Massey, you signed him after the draft, which, I would say he's playing admirably. That's never the first word you want to use to describe any of your players that are starting, though, because that means the expectations were low coming in, and that's probably where they should have been. He's been better than Elijah Wilkinson last year, so we'll take that. And Bowles has regressed, but the Broncos' offensive line pass blocking struggles is as much on that unit, if not more so, on the lack of guys getting open. The lack of Teddy trusting guys that are barely open because of the arm talent, can't really drive the ball in there for some of them. And Teddy being aggressive sometimes to a fault in hanging in the pocket and looking for a guy to get open or finish his route. So it's tough. The football is such a connected game, right? It's the circle of life out there. So offensive line could play better, but I would say that they're probably second or third on the totem pole of why the offensive pass protection looks like it does.
Steve, appreciate the stars. One of the questions earlier today was you got some money going into this season. Where might you spend? Now, the Denver Broncos have shown that they're willing to spend on right tackle, willing to show that they're willing to spend across their offensive line. If you look at Bowles and Glasgow, those are two of the highest paid players at their position in the entire league. Juwan James was making good bank, and they got a refund. You got a refund on that one. So if you're going to spend anywhere, I think right tackle might be a place that you start looking in free agency for a big upgrade. And that would help across the board for all the reasons that Nick was just saying.
Yeah, and if the Broncos aren't picking high enough where they can get one of those three elite edge rushers in the upcoming class in Hutchinson, Karlaftis, and Thibodeau, which Thibodeau go probably 1.1. So Karlaftis or Hutchinson, then my focus would probably shift to the tackles. And there are, from what I've watched so far, there are 4 tackles that impress the absolute hell out of me in this class. Obviously, Evan Neal, Charles Cross. This weekend, I watched a lot of football because my wife was gone. So what did that mean? Staying up until 2:00 watching the hour cut-ups of games. Broadcast film, not all 22 yet for some of these guys, but doing the work, getting it in. Ohio State's right tackle Nicholas Petit-Frere. It's either Frere Petit or Petit-Frere. Amazing. God, I absolutely love him.
He needs a nickname.
Or NPT.
I like Petit for an offensive lineman.
Yeah, he's playing left tackle, but he has some right tackle. It's Nicholas Petit-Frere. He's a redshirt junior. And the other guy who, a little bit late to the party here, I had talking to some people like, you need to watch this dude now. Iquanu from North Carolina State. He was struggling with pass protection last year. He looks like he's cleaned that up this year. You want to talk about a tone setter on the offensive line? That dude, absolutely. He goes out there and his goal is to not just finish his assignment. It's to kill the guy he's blocking. It is unbelievable out there in the run game, and his pass protection is apparently kicked up big time this year. So look out for him. I think Brandon Thorne, who does a lot of good offensive line work, had him as his number 1 overall tackle in this upcoming class, number 1 overall offensive lineman above Evan Neal. And when they did the grading for that big Bleacher Report top 100, he was the number 3 overall prospect in the entire board. Now, some of that is they don't have standardized from position to position because they have different guys grading different position groups, but watch out for Iquanu.
When you start getting 10 guys coming in from all over the country ranking guys, it can be tough.
Yep. Watch out for Ekwonu, though, man. Really good. There's some good tackles in this class. This is I know people want quarterback, but a lot of those people also have been screaming for tackles for years. This might be the year the Broncos finally use another resource at the tackle position. They haven't drafted an offensive tackle since Garrett Bowles in
I would say
2017.
since Garrett Bowles, correct?
Yep, which is
At
crazy.
all? I mean, not even
at
in the
all.
later
Nope.
rounds?
7th round, 6th round. Nope, they have not
Wow.
drafted a single tackle since 2017.
You know me, if you're in rounds 3 to 7 and you take a big DL or a big OL, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt on that one.
Yeah, not for lack of trying. The Broncos tried to draft 3 different tackles this last draft class. It's just the board didn't fall that way. So we'll see. But
Spencer
we're at
Brown
an hour.
never should have gone to 100. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, no, he's very talented. Penning at UNI this year, also another talented guy. Man, UNI's taken those guys should just transfer to Iowa. I don't know what's going on here. But Scott, any final thoughts here? We're at an hour before we get on up about this Washington football team. Then we should get like a score prediction, and then I'll save mine for Saturday. We need yours though, and we can get on out of here.
Oh, prediction. I always think whenever anybody asks me for a prediction, the first thing I think of is Rocky 3, And I don't know if you know Rocky 3, put it on your homework assignment. Clubber Lang, Mr. T says pain. That was his prediction. So I don't have faith in this team. I just don't. It's hard. They're at home. Washington football team is bad. It's a fairly simple way to slow them down. Keep Taylor Heinicke in the pocket. Their defense is terrible, which bodes well for your offense, which hasn't been good. I call this the movable object meets the resistible force. Which one's going to give? Denver should win this game, but the 3 times I've picked Denver to win, they lost. Those 3 in a row. I didn't pick them against Cleveland, but Cleveland had all of the parts and still in place to still win this game. They're at home. Their defense was good, and the running game was good. That's going to win you some games against a team that's playing poorly. Washington's defense is bad. Their offense is okay. If Mclaurin is out, then their offense is below okay. And they're reeling. So dare I say, Denver wins this one in a close one. 24-19, something strange like that. I don't know what the over/under is, but it's probably fairly high with that scoring defense that Washington has. But I don't trust them to put up. I don't trust the Broncos to put up 30 points on the league's worst scoring defense. So I'd still say the score is going to be kept down, and I'm going to go with the Broncos on this one, 24-19.
Yeah, the right now the spread is Broncos are favored by 3 over Washington football team, and the over/under is 44.5.
So what I just hit, 24-19. I hit it at 43 on a 5-point. I wouldn't bet on it. That's too close for me. I wouldn't bet on this one.
Yeah, no, I'm going to go the under, and I think the Broncos are going to. Well, I'll save it for Saturday. We'll see. I need to sleep on a little bit more. I got another show, so I don't have to be put on the spot like I put you on the spot. And real quick before we get out of here, because unfortunately, guys, I cursed us. Probably give myself too much credit here, but it was the 2017 draft class where I approached Chad. That's after he brought me onto Mile High Huddle. God, it's already been 4 or 5 years. And I said, we don't have a Broncos centric draft show or anything like that. And there's none out there. So we should do that. And I said, I don't know how much interest there'll be. I'm like, there'll be interest. Maybe it's niche, but there will be interest. And after that, we've been talking about the draft way too early in the season. I'm sorry, guys. You can put it on me. It's easy for you guys to just put it on me. We got EJ coming in saying Malik Willis or Matt Corral first round. Without a quarterback, we don't have a snowball's chance in hell to win. We can't keep taking old wash-up quarterbacks. EJ, I agree with you if the Broncos taking a quarterback this season means that you're not out on 2023, because there is nothing they could do worse. You talk about taking up old washed-up quarterbacks. Yeah, that's true, but the Broncos have also used some resources early in the draft at quarterback, and they have been emphatically not it. So if you take a quarterback in the first round or second round this year, I don't give a flying you-know-what if they go back in 2023 and take another quarterback, and that's not fair to the guy you just picked.
There is
play
no
better.
fair. These are
There's
professionals.
No fair. Yeah,
the NFL.
Play better. Yeah.
It's not fair to the other 52 guys on the roster if your quarterback can't play.
Yeah. Yep. And guess what? If the 2022 quarterback ends up being better than your 2023 one that you took again high, you trade that 2023 for a surplus. If Sam Darnold can get a 2, 4, and 6 after what he's looked like, you're still going to get value back from that pick.
And I wanted to say thanks to Chris. Chris has been our leaders in the stars for coming in as we're closing. coming in on stars there on Broncos for breakfast, and Michael also finishing us off with some stars. And I think Michael's coming in twice there, and I felt like there was one more that I missed. Chris came in twice, so that was maybe the one that I missed. And then Lawrence Rivera actually dropped some stars with his prediction. Let me see if I can go in and find it. I've asked for a sort function on this end from StreamYard. That's what I want. I want a sort function so I can see the Facebook comments. Dropping some stars saying 10-7 Washington. So he's definitely going with the under. With their scoring defense giving up 30 a game, I don't feel as confident about the under as I have on some of these other ones. So last week, if you watched us, you made a bunch of money because we went 3 for 3 on our money picks. This year, I'm not touching it. This week, I'm not touching this game. I don't like what I see. The lines match what I think of the game, and when that happens, I'm not going near it.
Yep. 100%. Well, guys, we're going to get out of here. Everyone have a great Thursday. This has obviously been Broncos for breakfast. We will see you again live Monday morning to talk about what went down Sunday. So make sure you guys are joining us. We're Monday, Tuesday, Thursday now. Added a new show, right? We're like, oh man, we're not sure if one show will be viable for the morning slot, but you guys have been killing it. And Scott and I are just having too much fun and commiserating with you guys on this Broncos team. And there's plenty to talk about. When we went to 3 shows, like, oh, we'll do 45 minutes, right? Let's cut it down to 15 minutes. God, what am I doing? Of course, that's not going to happen. But you guys can follow Scott and myself on Twitter to continue these conversations. You can at Scott on Twitter, at Scout Kennedy, and myself at Nick Kendell MHH. Also, make sure you're following us at Huddle Up Pod and at Mile High Huddle. Go to facebook.com/Mile High Huddle or /Mile High Huddle Pod, and subscribe to us on YouTube, Mile High Huddle. Subscribe, like, and share. Do that not only for Mile High Huddle, but also do it for Scott's channel at youtube.com/C/Scott Kennedy. Go Braves, beat the Astros. I think we're all about that over here. I think
cannot say Astros without putting the ass in.
Yeah, exactly. Also, we really want to, a lot of Rockies fans in here probably, but either way, you guys knocked out the Dodgers, so you should probably to knock out the Dodgers and then the Astros. The only thing that would have been better is if somehow you could go back and play the Red Sox as well and knock them out. All these teams that are just so hateable. That's easy for me to say as a Cardinal fan. I know a lot of people hate the Cardinals too. Mo Ron coming with a super sticker here. Not sure exactly what it is, but appreciate
the Hippos.
He does like to go with the Hippos, which is great. We also I
do have it over here. It's a pair. It's the cool pair that's doing a little
one of those, man. That pair.
Wiggle. Here, I'm gonna act out. Apologies. I'm gonna act out your super sticker. Cool.
Should I put Scott in timeout, guys? Let's just took him off the screen. US Dave says hit the like button on the way out. We got Rudolph Harris. Haven't seen Rudolph, but thank you for joining us late here. We appreciate you. Jay coming in. Happy Halloween, everybody. EJ saying great show, Nick and Scott. Thank you for
Linda's
the morning.
From Colorado.
Therapy. Yep. Hit the thumbs up on the way out. Linda coming in a little late from Colorado. That's okay. You guys can go back and watch the show from the beginning again, even if you hung out with us the whole time. Heck, why not? Let's watch it again. But we're gonna get going, guys. We got some stuff to do. I gotta start building an ark because it's been raining here since last Tuesday.
My canoe. Might be how I have to go get my kids from school.
It's they're not joking about that rain, man. We're gonna get a second La Nina winter too, which is just a major bummer. But we'll see you guys next time. I know that we'll see you. Scott will be there tonight in the background with Zach and Chad, and we'll get the star updates as well. So appreciate everyone. Stay safe. And even if the Broncos lose, we'll be here to talk some football. Lawrence again with the stars. God bless you. We love you. Have a good one, guys. We'll see you later. Go Broncos.